We're here tonight for questions and answers, and we're going to try to answer as many of those questions as you have. We want to make the best use of the time because nobody wants to be here any longer than they have to be. So I am asking for questions, not statements. Statements are best made to the school board directly, as Dick and I are not either decision makers in this process. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my fellow answerers up here. I'm Susan Stoltzfus. I'm the Director of Communications for the school district. Dick Anastasi is our Executive Director of Business Services. So in that role, he is our budget guy. He manages the finances of the district as well as some of our other operations. So he knows a lot of the detail about our budget, how it's developed, and some particulars about the reductions that are being proposed. And Connie Knoll is our Director of Transportation, and I usually need her because sometimes transportation questions come up that are fairly specific. And while I know that Connie can't tell you what bus ride you will have in the fall if you are affected by the boundary changes, because that information will come out with the boundary proposal or subsequent to the boundary proposal on March 25th. But she can definitely tell you how they go about designing bus routes and what do they consider when they're trying to locate stops and what is the average ride time for an elementary student and all of the other questions that we often get about transportation. We know the analysis that included numbers going from school A to school B was to demonstrate capacity at the schools, how many kids could possibly move from one school to the other. And unfortunately, people locked into those numbers right away, even though it does say example, nobody took it that way. I can tell you for sure that the boundary plan that will be public on March 25th will not have those same numbers in it.
Hi, my question is around clarification for the 90-day comment period. Since I just heard you say that some of the data within the analysis is notional and the boundary proposal is not going to come down until March 25th, within that 90 days, I'm wondering how this community can give thoughtful and informed commentary on a proposal that's made up of notional data, and whether there's going to be a 90-day period from March 25th, at which time we can make informed commentary because we'll know the boundary recommendation.
The 90-day period began on February 12th with the recommendation to the board, and under state law, that is when the 90-day clock begins ticking.
It's in violation of the policy.
I guess I'll just say I don't understand that because the report doesn't contain concrete data. So please educate me because it's not true. I just don't get it.
We cannot.
Remember, the analysis was not meant to provide boundaries and transportation plans. Yeah, the question is the same as the first time. It was why didn't the analysis include the boundary plan? And so I did try to. When does the 90-day period begin? Shouldn't it begin when the boundary plan is presented? And that's not our read of it. We've checked with a few of our attorneys and said, are we within the law on this? And the answer is yes. Does the board have discretion to change the date of their decision? Probably. Would that be a good idea, seeing as we're getting pretty close to the end of the school year, and I think most people want to know sooner rather than later?
So if I may, I would submit that most people would like real data to comment.
That's a good statement to provide to the school
And I
board.
will do that, trust me.
Thank
But
you.
I still don't feel that you've answered the question.
Does the district have a strategic plan that's like a 5-year strategic plan that they've been implementing? And is it open to the public review?
We have strategic goals that are posted on the website that kind of gives us guidance around where to focus our resources. If you're talking about a budget plan, is it budget or just strategic? Dick has developed a 3-year budget projection, and that's why we were able to say in January, here's what we think our budget situation will be in this year and next year and the year after. And that's why we're looking at a cumulative
about this 3 years ago. That I was there.
That's kind of interesting because 2 years ago, the Enrollment Demographics Task Force did recommend that the board consider closing a school in the Woodinville feeder pattern. But the board said, well, let's do these other boundary changes in Bothell to relieve the overcrowding and try to feed the Woodinville schools. And
Overall strategic long-term plan for our North Shore School District. What is it? Where is it? What is going on? That's what we want to know. Do you have a long-term strategic 5-year plan?
no,